I've shown this before, but I think it would be very helpful for a lot of people. I'm a big fan of this process. It's essentially the process of reverse engineering the scale. And this is why one of the most important things that everyone needs to do as a part of their scaling journey, you need to be very clear of your org chart. And what does your org chart look like in 3 to 5 to 10 years' time? Because that's what your business is going to look like at scale. And the reality is, for many of us, our businesses are already at that scale. We are just the ones wearing the multiple hats. Those roles are already being deployed in the business. They may not be on an org chart because there's not someone fulfilling that job description, but somebody is doing that role. Okay, now I'm going to look at those roles and I'm going to write down the initials of the people that are in those roles right now. And you're going to put your initials in everything. And you're going to probably put, a lot of people's initials in a lot of different things. And you go, right, okay, so that's the scorecard. Now we know all the roles that we need to recruit for to be under management. At the point where I can just sit up here and all these other roles are filled, I've now succeeded as a business owner because the business no longer needs me, and I can now basically, operate as a chief executive and more of a strategic role. In order to get there, we've got to have 3 steps. The first step is we have to organize. So organization is all about what does your org chart look like in the next 5 to 10 years. Get your org chart solid. What does it look like? Okay, map it out, play with it, tweak it, have other peers in the community look at it, red team it, say, is there anything I'm not looking at? Am I trying to complicate it? And this is the thing that a lot of people do in their org charts, is they complicate them and they try and put loads too many roles in there than is actually really required. And as a result, they could end up overscaling and as a result becoming a less profitable entity than if they just looked at it from a lean concepts perspective and going, right, do I really need that many roles? Can some of the roles be consolidated versus me trying to recruit for all these independent roles? So that's step 1. Let's organize. What does the 5 to 10 year plan look like? So step 2 is systemization. That's where we systemize. You're going around into every role, okay? And you identify tasks within roles. And once you identify what those tasks are, you then break them down. And so that way, someone goes away, someone gets hit by a bus, someone gets thrown into that role. They go, well, I'm in this role. I need you to do that task. Go and look on the Google site and it'll walk you through steps 1 to 10 of exactly how to do that. Great. We now have systems in place, which means when we turn teams over, as we start to learn to grow and scale, and as we get better at recruitment process, you're going to hire people, they're going to leave, they're going to get fired. But what remains is the documentation of how that role operates all of their tasks. And as every person comes in, hopefully they bring a level of evolution to what this systemization looks like. So it gets better and better and better. Get all the systems, get all the tasks. And Google Sites is the best way to do this, obviously, because it's all maintained in digital format. You can get access to it on your phone. The third step is delegation sequence. And what delegation looks like is we go back to our org chart and we go, okay, up here, is the CEO role. And then down here, we've got, admin, we've got bookkeeping, we've got marketing, okay, we've got sales, and you see where I'm going with this. And so the first thing you might do in your delegation, because what we're trying to do here is create a delegation strategy. Okay, we want to create, what is going to be the sequence by which we delegate roles within the business based on what I'm good at and what we are good at as a team, and based on what we're not good at as a team, and then overlay the fact of what is a revenue generating role. So if I'm not good at sales, okay, but I'm trying to do sales, then I should not be fucking doing sales. I should be finding someone who can do sales because it's a revenue generating activity. We have to prioritize revenue responsibility when there is a skills deficit. Okay, whereas if there's not, I'm really good at sales, I can sell. What do you really suck at that has an implication when it comes to revenue? Well, bookkeeping. So you might go, okay, well, we need to replace your bookkeeper. Who's doing it currently? Well, I'm doing it currently. How many, okay, well, how many hours a week does that take? Well, it takes me right now, it takes me about 25 hours a week, okay? Excellent, it takes you 25 hours a week, and you're currently trying to do marketing and sales and everything else around that. Yes, I am. Awesome. How much money do you think you could make if you were marketing for those 25 hours a week? How much money do you think you could make if you were selling for those 24 hours a week? Well, I would, but I can't, so I have to do it myself. Great. But how much would it cost if we were going to hire a bookkeeper? Now, if you're going to hire a bookkeeper, a reasonable bookkeeper, you're going to be paying, let's call it anywhere between $60 to $80 plus, maybe $100 plus. But let's say you find a reasonably good bookkeeper at $75 per hour. Okay, you might go, well, hang on, I can't afford to pay a bookkeeper, 75 times $25 an hour. Well, hang on, they're a bookkeeper. They're fucking good at bookkeeping. You're not. Okay. A good bookkeeper, as I discovered, doesn't take them 25 hours. In most cases, it maybe takes them 3 to 6 hours. And so now we only need a bookkeeper for 3 to 6 hours a week, which is only going to cost us, when you extrapolate that, $150 to $300. And so now what the goal is now is to go, right, with this knowledge, I can buy an extra 25 hours back that I can invest into sales and marketing activity. And I am fucking really sure that if I do that, I'm going to be able to make more than $150 to $300 per week. But I'm not going to guarantee it. What I have to do is I now have to go out there and generate an extra $150 to $300 a week. I have to do extra marketing and extra sales. And if I can do this consistently for 4 to 6 weeks, boom, now I can actually recruit for that role. Bang. And now the bookkeeper role has been outsourced or insourced. Okay, what's next? All right, well, I really suck at admin. How many hours a week are you doing admin? We go through the same process. And so our goal is to go through this process and to eventually get around to every part of the org chart and tick it off and go through the delegation sequence and have a numbering system where you go, okay, here's my org chart. Based on our current skill sets, here's number 1. So that's the priority. Number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. And every role, every 12 months or every quarter, you should update with what is the cost of recruiting for that role. Okay, so then you've got a revenue target, because all of these delegation sequences can only be actioned by a revenue target being achieved for a 4 to 6 week period in order for you to then go, all right, now I can hire that role. Because if you just go in and try and hire, you'll send the business broke, through poor resource management. Whereas if we go, well, I can get these 25 hours back, but I'm going to have to work for an extra 3 weeks really hard to get an extra $150 to $300 per week. And if I know if I can do that, then I can outsource the role, then fucking happy days. You just got 25 hours back. And you might get to the end of 12 months and you've delegated, let's call it 13, 15, 20 roles. The business is now doing, X times more revenue, but the profit is going to be, in some cases, almost exactly the same. Not always. Why? The reason is because we've now bought our life back. Okay, because if we were doing more of those roles, yes, we'd be making same revenue, more profit, but we'd be in the business. Now that we're free, and in most cases, you'll still be doing more profit, but even if you're not, that's not a bad thing, because what you've got back is more valuable than profit. It's your time. Now with my time being free, now I can work strategically on the business as a CEO, okay, as an investor, and now I can really grow the business because I'm not in the forest trying to cut down the trees. I'm in a helicopter flying over and telling people where to go to find the best places to clear trees and build property. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.